So, for those of you who don't know God, He's the answer to all your questions and problems, as I mentioned before. Sit down with yourself, get to know yourself, and your higher self will start slowly becoming familiar with you. Just try it out. I want you guys to comment in the comments below and let me know your experiences you have for meditating. Try it for 60 seconds, guys. Close your eyes, relax, sit in Indian style. Try to have a straight posture. I'm not really into chakras and everything like that, but it does something when you straighten up your posture. Your body starts functioning the way it's supposed to function, the way God created it to function, so that you can connect with your higher self. All right? Learn God. If you don't know Him, seek Him. And the world can be your oyster. All the struggles you're going through can just go away because you have that guidance to guide you through everything, guys. I've sat down with my higher self and I've been able to hear conversations of people having like way across town. And I know this to be true because I will go to that person and I will say something to them. That's another story for another day. Just comment below if you want to hear that story. But through doing this, I've been able to avoid getting kidnapped, avoid getting raped, because people plot, guys. They plot against you, and they set you up. You've seen it so many times. People want to hurt people for whatever reason. They will plot against you and set you up and do bad things to you. I've been in situations where I felt like I was surrounded by demons in human form. And it was only my higher self that was able to communicate with me and the other person that I was with to get us out of that situation. It's so important, guys. If you want to have power, if you want to feel like a superhuman, connect with your higher self. It's amazing because the things that you think is impossible, your higher self will tell you the shortest route to get there. And you be like, if I knew this thing was so easy, I would have done it so long ago. Now you think about how something impossible can just, you have the power to just, you working with your higher self is working with you. You know, it's like you're in a maze and you're looking down at yourself saying, turn right, turn left. Reach in that bush and grab the apple. Eat it. Carry on. This apple will keep you satisfied until your next instruction. Guys, when you can communicate with your higher self like that, that's how you become rich. That's how you become blessed. That's how you get everything you want out of life. But why are we avoiding doing this? Is it because we're listening to too many people telling us the wrong thing? Guess what? Your higher self will be able to tell you that person doesn't know what they're talking about. They'll be able to tell you that person does know what they're talking about. And if you're not able to hear from your higher self, you will be able to go and find the truth yourself. Don't just accept anything. Know what the truth is, guys. If you don't know what the truth is, how can you even make anything? How can you make happiness? How can you make money? How can you make babies and you don't even have control over your own desires? That's what kids do. That's not what mature adults do. Don't mind if you see your parents doing these things. That does not make them an adult. People can grow in physicality and stop growing mentally. That's what makes you a child in a grown person's body. I call the man boys, and the females are just little girls. Like, yeah, you got boobs, yeah, you got a shape, but your mind is still at the age of a 13-year-old, an 18-year-old. and you in your 40s. Some people in their 50s and their 60s and they never got it. But you know what? Pay attention to those people who are in their 50s and their 60s and they still act immature. They are the most immature. They're the most unhappy people I've ever seen. These older people who know they have that immaturity, they're so unhappy with themselves because they would rather be unhappy than to have to work on themselves. And that's psychological abuse to yourself. Think about it now. Some people hate themselves so much they don't even recognize. When they see other people loving themselves, they don't recognize that's how I'm supposed to treat myself. But they envy that person. Why? Because they just don't love themselves enough. It's mind-boggling that is the reason. Deep, deep down, they will never admit it to you, but that's the reason. So now, if you don't learn God, you don't connect to your higher self, your life will just be full of more struggles than joys. Look around you. Everything says the same thing. It's fact. It's fact now. As a result of the struggles, you will either have to seek God once you're broken down to rock bottom, or in order to keep yourself afloat, you will have to do more things that lead your footsteps to more evil. And inevitably, you'll go to hell. Some people don't believe in hell. Whatever, whether you go to hell or not, your death can be the scariest thing. So if you want to die quiet, if you want to die horrifically, then you will make a decision based on that. You want to die in peace? Connect with your higher self. They'll tell you how to do that. Save yourself the trouble. You can go test all of this out as facts, guys, if you don't believe me. Go do a documentary on this or something. I'd love to see it. Okay, but it will be your life that you're ruining if you don't go and find out what the truth is and take heed to it. You're deliberately choosing to be ignorant at that point. And guess what? God doesn't give you a pass for that either. You will struggle for being ignorant. You will struggle when people tell you something and you don't want to listen. It ends up blowing up in your face, right? That's the truth in what I'm saying. People use that phrase, oh, you don't listen to manipulate you. You need to have your own path and your own purpose and your own connection with God. Your own connection with your higher self. Nobody can have that for you and tell you what to do with your connection. But somebody who wants the best for you, they will keep encouraging you. Get connected. Get connected. Read your Bible. Listen to what the word says. Take heed to what the word says. Follow what the word says. If you don't follow it, you will see that the word is true and exactly what the Bible says will happen happens. It will happen to you now. You see all the stories, Samson this, David that, Ruth this. You follow their story and you're supposed to understand not just one lesson. These lessons are multi-level lessons, guys. These stories are not just to tell you one lesson. Seek the truth in what the lessons are supposed to tell you. These lessons have different levels of knowledge. When you read the Bible from year to year, you pick up a different understanding. Why not try and marinate on this book or this verse for as long as it takes for you to see the multiple understandings that you need to see? That's how you catapult yourself into getting closer to God and your higher self. So instead, you causing yourself struggle. Now, when you have a baby, you can't afford it, or you don't even have the motivation or the drive to afford it. That's creating struggle for yourself. And for what? to cause yourself pain or to cause the person you with pain, or you want to cause that child pain. That child didn't ask to come here. That child didn't ask to be born by you and you giving them a shitty life. You feeding them only, unhealthy food because you can only afford food stamps. Why are you doing God's children like that? That's your child, but that's God's child first. I'm not here to shame anybody. But me too, I talk to myself like this, like, you got to do better. Alechi, you got to do better. If you don't do better, it's a crime, shame. You committing a crime and it's a shame. A crime against your God that created you, and it's a shame because now the world is looking at you creating that same crime now, and they're looking at it like you putting that crime on yourself now, because now they got a reason to disrespect you for putting all those crimes on yourself, all that shame on yourself. You having all this sex and you can't take care of your kids. That means you're immature. People are looking at you like you're immature. And for some of you, people are telling you to your face you're immature. You get all mad because why? You know how to have sex? Because you think adults are the only ones having sex? No, you got it wrong. Anybody can have sex. But it takes an adult to be able to manage the consequences that come with it. Manage it in a way that it does not make them frustrated. It does not make them stressed out. They're actually happy for being able to accept this responsibility. But the way I see some of you mothers in the hood, I'm going to call you out because your mother did not teach you any better and your father didn't, and it's not your fault. I know you want to elevate yourself, but you don't have the type of environment that supports that. And that means you need to get out of that environment, and without any excuses. Without any excuses. If you want to get out of it, do hair, do something, make some type of money that you can put to the side. You got to do something extra. For me, when I wanted my life to elevate, I was working a 9 to 5 and I knew I didn't have any more time in the day to say I'm going to go and become rich. But what I did was I did it in small chunks. When I got home from work, I said no phone calls, no dates for 4 hours. Okay? That means if I get home from work at 5 o'clock, 5:30, for 4 hours, I'm working on my goals. Whether I want to start a business, I want to buy a house, I want to travel. And at this time, I decided I wanted to buy property. I wanted to build my personal, financial portfolio. Why wait on a husband? Why wait on a family to say I'm sharing it with them? I can start now. Because if I don't start this now, I would have to take another path of finding something else that I have a passion for, or not doing anything and then attracting people who are also not doing anything with their lives. So I told myself 4 hours a day, Monday through Friday, Saturday and Sunday, you work for 8 hours for yourself. And you don't answer any phone calls unless it's business related for the next 30 days. You got to discipline yourself. If you can't discipline yourself, you cannot change. You can't change. You will never be happy. It feels good to change. It feels good to be better. Some of you guys never even told yourself how much of the shit you are. Why? Because you don't have a supportive environment. They see you working hard. They see you doing everything right. They see you trying. and they don't support you, because guess what? That's not the type of environment that your higher self says you need to be in. But you can't even check in with your higher self to even know that. When you start checking in with your higher self, you will start seeing the bullshit. And you will start avoiding it. I promise you. You'll be like, I don't have time for that. Like, I enjoyed that piece, that 10 minutes a piece, that 60 seconds a piece, that 2 minutes a piece that I just, what's the word I used earlier? Meditated on. When I started meditating, I was in college, and boy, did I never see a piece like that. So when you experience peace, you'll be able to understand when something is not peaceful and start walking away from it. Start saving yourself the struggle. Because guess what? That time you spend in arguing with that person, you can be working on your business. You can be loving yourself, taking a peaceful hot bubble bath with roses. You can be walking in the park, experiencing the fresh air and the beautiful blue sky that God created for you to lay your eyes on. You can be connecting with your higher self instead of allowing somebody to disconnect you. That's what's happening when somebody's arguing with you, guys. The enemy is trying to disconnect you from your highest self. Why? Because they want to confuse you and keep you from your destiny as long as possible. Why? Because he will never get to his, he will never get out of his punishment. So he wants you to go along with him. He wants you to disrespect God. He wants you to disobey God. He wants you to not have, discipline. If you've ever heard of the book it's called Conversation with the Devil, or Outwitting the Devil by Napoleon Hill, guys. Read that book so you can see how Satan just snakes his way into the minds of people around you to distract you. If he's not slipping in your mind, he's doing it around to the people around you to trip you up. If your mind is too strong and he can't enter your brain, he will do it into the weak-minded people that are around you to take you off of your path. But if you don't meditate and connect with your higher self, you won't even know when that's happening. You won't even see it coming. You won't even know when to leave. It would just be, it slap you in your face and you just sitting there like, what happened after that person has done their damage? You'll just be looking like, what just happened? But it'll be too late because that person has gone now with your right to